Hey everyone, Caleb here with the Human Music Society. The last few days I've been thinking more about AI and productivity and the dichotomy between productivity and consumption, and in particular how that dichotomy relates to creativity. Now, if you live in a Western culture, then I'm sure you've probably heard us called consumerist cultures, especially here in the United States. And in one sense, that's true. We consume a lot. We consume a ton of resources. We consume a lot of entertainment, be that music, video games, social media, TV, movies, etc. And we consume a lot of other things like going to concerts, going out to eat, consuming books, going on things like hikes or adventures like that. And that's a lot. And the temptation is to label all consumption as bad. But the truth is that we need to be consuming good things for our very survival. Consumption is essential to us living good and healthy lives. But the question is, are we producing more than we are consuming? Are we living our lives as a net gain or a net loss? This question goes down to the very foundation of what it means to survive, and it goes down to the very foundation of what economics is. It doesn't take a mathematician to figure out that we need to consume things to live. The important part is that we produce more than we consume. So in the West, we consume more than anyone else in the world. But you see, the thing is, we also produce more than anyone else in the world. And this is precisely why we're able to consume so much as Westerners, because our production level gives us more free time. It gives us more ability to do the things which we enjoy, which more often than not involves consuming things, because consumption is hopefully enjoyable. And with AI, our productivity is only likely to get better, which will further increase the amount of time we have available to do the things to enjoy, to consume the things which we want to consume. And for better or for worse, AI will also take over a lot of jobs, including a lot of creative jobs like writing music. And in a society where we are addicted to entertainment, where we're addicted to the social media platforms, to video games, to TV shows, to films, the temptation will be for us to spend even more time doing those things. But I would argue that just as it is important for a society to produce more than it consumes to be a sustainable society, so also on an individual level, it is important for our personal development, for our souls, to make sure that we are producing more than we are consuming, even if our production appears to be no longer needed from an economic perspective. Here's why. Too much consumption blinds you. It dulls your senses because you're not using them. You don't need them anymore. Too much consumption changes you. Whatever you consume is what you become. Being addicted to consumption removes you from being able to take part in conversation, because a conversation is something which is produced, not consumed. And this is particularly true for conversations which take place in the realm of art. Too much consumption isolates you, because if you're not part of a conversation, then you're not part of a community. And lastly, consumption is easy, and it's usually very pleasurable. But if too much consumption occurs, then what happens is, instead of consuming the pleasure, it flips so that the pleasure is now consuming you. On the other hand, being productive has the ability to make us feel valuable, to make us feel good. And the reason for that is because, well, consuming can be pleasurable, it's not satisfying. Being productive, on the other hand, well, more difficult often, is satisfying. Pleasurable consumption, well, in appropriate doses, is a good thing. And the reason for that is because ultimately, to rest, we have to consume, and to live, we have to consume. But it's not sustainable in the long run. Productivity, however, sustains us. Pleasurable consumption, while ultimately good in appropriate amounts, will ultimately deplete us. On the other hand, productivity makes us feel satisfied in some way, and it sustains us. And here's why. Good productivity gives you the ability to help others. It gives you the ability to pull others up to where you are. And that in itself makes productivity worth the effort. It also allows you to use your senses, and it allows you to use your gifts. And by using them, you are therefore sharpening them and developing yourself as a person. And because of that, it gives you the opportunity to grow as a person, to become the person which you want to be. And by being productive, it gives you a voice in the conversation, in whatever conversation you're taking part in, whether that's the conversation of music or creativity or just being in a conversation in general, because as I said before, a conversation is a product of being productive. And if you're in a collective conversation, or any conversation for that matter, that also means that you are in a community, which fulfills an essential need for us as humans. And instead of being changed by whatever you're consuming, productivity gives you the power, gives you the ability to start to be proactive about changing yourself. It gives you the power to change you. And the last thing is that living a productive lifestyle makes those times of rest, makes those times of consumption so that you can rest, so that you can live, that much more sweet and that much more enjoyable. So this is why when AI can make video game music, and it can make it faster and, dare I say, even better than I could, it is still worth my time and still worth the effort for me to continue in my craft. Because by continuing in the art form of making music, I am developing myself as a person, and I am contributing something to the creative conversation, and I am part of a collective community. And so at the end of the day, the ability to make a living through music is not the ultimate goal. Well, that's nice. That's not the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal for doing anything you love is for yourself. Doing it for yourself so that you can be the best person you can be. If you agree with me and you want to continue to develop yourself into being the best person you can be in a world of AI, then I invite you to join the Human Music Society Discord server. It's a great place where we can interact with each other, where we can show projects with each other, where we can work to preserve the human creative spirit and to make sure that that collective conversation is something which continues on for future generations to come. And that's it for me today. Until next time, stay human.